You know how there's like the whole conspiracy theorist in conservative circles that autistic people are often gender fluid and non-binary and trans and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, it's the autism. It's just the fact that we have a different relationship with these things. And it's not as binary, but that's the problem. Why are we defaulting to the binary being the reality for all of us? We're obviously all having a different experience. And if we're all having a different experience, it doesn't make your experience more, quote, valid. It just means it's different. It's like this idea that the difference means one is better than the other versus it being different. So actually something inspired by yesterday's Discord event that I want to implement into the content for a while to see how it works is good, bad, neutral. Like, it's not good or bad that autism and transness have an overlap. So far, it seems to be neutral. It just happens to be more prevalent because autistic people also tend to be on the internet. So we tend to post about our gender journey more often. I think that's just like a consequence of the internet being a safe space for autistic people. And this is a big generalization about autistic people, that we are curious, that we do like to research, that we do want to fight for a sense of justice. Like, there is a stereotype of autistic people being sort of like good, which isn't true, but yet rings true for so many of us. So I actually want us to pivot into this conversation now away from gender and into ethics around being autistic, because I saw this TikTok yesterday and I really want to talk to you about it. Let's watch it together.
People are not as good as you are. The hardest pill I had to swallow as an autistic person is that people are not as good as you are. People do not mean what they say. People do not have good intentions for you. All of that. Like, just because you would do something or just because somebody says something, but that's not what it means. Like, that's the hardest thing I had to realize. Like, people will say something to you with negative intentions to get something out of you, to manipulate you, to gaslight you. They have an alternative motive. When I talk to people, I don't have an alternative motive. I'm not saying something trying to get something out of somebody. I'm not doing something trying to get something out. I'm not manipulating people. But people do that to me a lot. And I don't realize it because I like to believe people have good intentions. I like to believe people are good people and that they don't have malicious intent. But that's not true. That is not true. People have alternative motives a lot of the time. And that was one of the hardest things I had to realize. Like, stop taking people's opinions and what people say so deeply, because people are not shit. People will say things to make you feel some type of way. People will say things and it will not be true. Like, that was just something I really had to learn, and I still do learn, because like, people try to get over it with me a lot because I'm very nice and I don't like conflict and I don't like arguments, and I try to be mature and a bigger person, all that stuff. But like, people are not good. Like, inherently, a lot of people are not good. Or they just, I don't even want to say that because that's like writing off everybody in humanity. But just like, you have to be careful because people do not mean what they say. But I know I'm going to stay blessed and I'm going to stay up. And anybody who has done me wrong is going to get some bad karma.
No. No, we don't want the last part. You don't want to wish bad on people, but no. Your life is a reflection of what you put into it. Okay, I really love that whole TikTok. I didn't see the ending when I was watching it by myself because I stopped watching so we could watch together. No. Minus the ending part. Okay, we don't wish bad on people. But listen to me when I say this. I see this in myself. It is the form of my brain that comes off naive. It is also the stereotype that autistic people are naive little pure angels. But the truth is that we just don't all have a maliciousness. Not all. Some autistic people are very fucking malicious because it's not the autism that makes you sort of quote pure. It's the way you maybe process information. But I see this in myself so clearly when I was in those debate bro bubbles where I would like so authentically believe people and then they would turn around and be like, everyone's a piece of shit. So you're a piece of shit for being here. And I was like, oh, are you guys a piece of shit? Because I thought we were vibing. And then it was like really confusing for me to figure it out, because I felt like I was reading people really, really well, but I think I was misstepping in my assessment of people by giving everyone a very strong benefit of the doubt. Like a very strong, because I don't want to write people off. I think the problem with humanity is like, if we write people off, we're going to have to write off like 99% of people. And that seems very arrogant and like egotistical to be like 99% of people suck, which is why I love this TikToker, because she was like, wait, okay, maybe not everybody. It's like, yeah, I don't want to write everybody off, y'all. Like, I don't want to do that. So I think having that autistic experience is so interesting because I would like interact with people and be so authentic and thinking they were wanting authenticity. Like they kept saying, I want authenticity, I want realness. I was like, great, me too. And then I was like, oh, your realness is kind of icky. Like you might just be a gross person. Like I remember there was this time when I shared a really vulnerable story because I was trying to relate to this person. And they were like, yeah, you obviously know that's not the same situation. And I was like, oh, are you talking about actual domestic abuse? Like, are you talking about domestic abuse? And they were like, yeah, like sometimes we hit our partners. And I was like, oh, we are not talking about the same thing. I thought we were sharing some vulnerable moments about when like life got really hard and, you know, physicality came into a situation and they were just like, so they were like, you're being malicious. And I was like, oh, I'm confused. Do you guys hate your partners? Cause like, I don't out with that. But like, that's what was so confusing to me is I couldn't fathom that they were getting off the internet and just saying it with their full chest. Like I really struggle to imagine that. I was like, do you know people can see you? Do you know you were sitting here and trying to normalize domestic violence? Like you were trying to normalize it. And that's what they wanted. They were like, we should talk about it. More people are hitting their partners. And I was like, no, no. Like I don't want to normalize hitting your partner. I want to bring to light that it's a problem we need to fix. So I think sometimes when we're having these conversations, there is sort of a realization you have to have where it's like, oh, yeah, people, even if they don't know it, aren't as good faith as they think they are, which is a big part in the debate bubble we talk about all the time, like good faith, good faith, good faith. What does it mean to have good faith? I think a big part of good faith has got to require you to actually seek information and knowledge, right? They have to want to come to an answer, the real answer, not an ego-driven answer. And I think that's really hard for people. Chez says, so they want to say it, but not fix it. Yeah, like they wanted to talk about how dark humanity was and how really like gross people are. And if people were more honest, we'd realize they were gross. And I was like, yeah, maybe, but I am not having that lived experience, right? Like this is the problem I am having, or I had a few years ago. I am not having whatever experience you're having. Like every time I think I'm an edgy girly, I see an Ethan Klein post from 10 years ago and I'm like, never mind. Yo, if you guys know, you know.
So what is this? Holy shit, Ethan Klein, what the fuck was wrong with you, bro? Malia, okay, so Ethan had a Twitter account too. Pedo Troll had a Twitter account. Oh my God, dude, he was fucking prolific, huh? So Pedo Troll said, Mr. White House, Mr. President, would you send Michelle, Sasha, Malia through TSA screening? Naked photos or invasive genital groping, you choose. What the fuck, dude? That's so Destiny says, holy fuck shit, Ethan Klein, what the fuck was wrong with you, bro? Malia was 12 years old. Sasha was 9 years old. What the kind of humor was this? Are you okay, bro? Again, let's just keep in mind, yes, Ethan was making fucking sick jokes. Destiny actually does contact teenagers per se. So let's also just keep that in perspective. We enjoy all of the disgusting stuff that he's bringing to light against Ethan, just because, you know, that's always a good time. But let's just keep in mind that he's actually a criminal.
I am so shook at these boys on the internet because every time I think, oh yeah, like we've all been edgy, they make me the edginess these boys go to is past edgy. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I keep thinking we're the same. We're not even in the same planet, bro. My edgy only got so far. It never even touched what these boys have been posting on the internet. You know? Oh my God. And so like, it's that kind of stuff where you really think you show up and you're like, yeah, we've all been edgy, you know? And then you realize like, oh, never mind. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you all crossed that line, you know? Chat says good faith should just mean this person is saying what they believe, but people seem to really struggle with the idea that people are just fundamentally different values from them. No, good faith in a conversation means that like there's an authenticity to the interaction and there's a desire for outcome that is authentic because everybody is saying what they think in a conversation. The dilemma is like, but I need you to be good faith enough to understand that I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm not trying to manipulate you towards an answer. You know what I mean? I'm actually trying to figure it out. I'm not just asking you. You know, I feel like that's the problem is like people get into a conversation and they're like, you're not really asking me that question. It's like, no, I'm asking you that question. I don't know what you're saying. You know, Brittany, that's not true. Some people on the internet will just lie. Hold on. Yeah, but when you say good faith should just mean this person is saying what they believe. Okay, see, we're doing it now. You're not being good faith with me right now. I'm saying in order to engage in good faithness, you would have to eradicate from your brain any form of manipulation or lie. It means you would not be, don't even entertain. Like, I'm not even entertaining the idea that you're manipulating me. That's what good faith to me means. Like, I'm coming to you in good faith. There is no in the back of my head, you're lying to me. There's no in the back of my head, I'm being deceived. See, that's what good faith should be. I'm coming to you with absolutely no ulterior motive. I'm not coming to deceive you. I'm not trying to win a debate. I am just coming to you in a desire to figure things out, you know? But if in the back of your head, you're thinking, oh, this person is lying, this person is deceiving, I can't trust this person. Well, the good faith is out the window. You can't be good faith now. You cannot be good faith so long as you think you might be being deceived, which is why I came off really naive in these debate bubbles, because I was coming in so fucking good faith to a bubble that was so fucking corrupt that they didn't even know what to do with me. That's why nobody liked me. In that space, genuinely, how many panels was I on? And people were like, Brittany, shut the fuck up. Why are you here? And I was like, I don't know. I thought if I just went in so good faith and really, you know, but that's not what they were there for. So they were like, what the fuck are you doing here? And then they like didn't know what to do with me, right? Which is so valid because like, in some ways, and I remember telling people in this sphere this, I'm going to stop hanging out with you guys because I do want to have better conversations and I feel like I'm ruining your fun of fucking around with each other. I think they genuinely like fucking around with each other. I think they think the deception and the lying is the fun of it. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So I think it's unethical, of course. But more than that, I am going to be a party pooper as long as I show up in good faith. Because the good faithness is party pooper to them. Okay, so look at this stitch that I found, okay? This is a stitch to this TikTok.
People do not have good intentions for you.
I don't even think I truly was able to process this until maybe my late 30s or early 40s, just a few years ago, that if a rule is a good rule, if a rule is meant to protect me, if a rule is meant to protect society, protect the public in a positive way, I cannot break that rule. And if a rule is only, if a rule only exists in this sort of arbitrary way, it's almost impossible for me to respect that rule.
Pause. This is my autistic brain to a T. If a rule is good, we never break the rule. If the rule is stupid, bad, useless, incomplete, I'm not doing it. This is why in school, I was such a pain in the ass for teachers. Because like, if you gave me a rule that I thought was fucking good, I would follow it to the T. I'm a rule follower. The moment I think it's inefficient, I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. You can't make me. Send me to the principal's office. I'm not doing this. And that is literally my autistic experience my whole life. And now I have a name for it. Because I was the girly. I was the girl in school who I would read the books. I would do the essays as long as I thought they were interesting and cool. I would do an extra essay a week if I thought it was fun and cool. But if I thought it was arbitrary, if I thought you were being like, you were giving me busy work, I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, give me an F. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the police. Like, I don't give a fuck. And then that was such a problem with teachers because they'd be like, I hated busy work. Do not fucking insult me. Okay? Like, I'm 15 and I've got a heart of gold and I'm ready to learn, you know? And it was like in school, they would just like, the few years I went to public school too. But even in homeschooling, even when I was homeschooled, because I would do classes outside the home, teachers always had problems with me because I'm like, why am I doing this? I needed to know why. Otherwise, it just seemed like a waste of time. Like I could be doing anything else, you know? Anyway, back to the TikTok.
But the degree to which, and I don't want to sit here and pretend that all autistic people are inherently good. It's a lot of like how the rules were described to you and how that you sort of came to them. I want to be very, very clear about that. But if you are an autistic person that was raised.
Exactly. It's not that autistic people are automatically good because they're autistic. That is ableist in many ways. Like autistic people can be evil bad guys too, Elon.
With even the most remote level of forward-thinking altruism, you almost cannot be made, you cannot be forced, even under duress to do the bad thing. And the way that we look out into the world and we see people that purport to be good people just making selfish, self-interested choices. And I love, like, the one of the simplest, as silly as it is, shopping cart theory, right? Like we said, there's like, oh, it's not that big a deal. Leaving a shopping cart in a parking lot is asking for a choice that you made to cause damage to someone else's property. Like, you can't be a good person and leave your shopping cart in a place where someone could trip over it.
Well, it's so funny because I also am very rigid about putting the cart back. You don't have to put it all the way back, but you got to put it somewhere because I think it impacts everything. It impacts the way we feel about our parking spaces. I've seen carts swing across the parking lot, hit people, hit cars. Like, these things are heavy. Like, shopping carts are heavy. You know what I mean? Imagine you're a kid walking and a shopping cart is in the wind going. Imagine you're an elderly person, you get hit with a shopping cart. Like, you could kill somebody, you know? And I've definitely been one of those people that jump out of my car and start putting carts at least back in the cart slot. You don't have to take it all the way back to the store, but like at least putting them in the cart spot. Because, but this also goes to like walking the cart to the other cart. If the cart is full, the cart slot is full, going to the next one. It's like the trash cans. I've been telling you guys about the trash cans in our building. It's like my partner and I deliberately, well, my partner, because I don't really take out the trash like that, but my partner always goes to the empty dumpster, but everyone keeps putting it in the one dumpster and it overfills and it spills over. And I'm like, how hard is it to walk 5 feet? Not even 5 feet, 5 steps to the next dumpster. It's right next door to each other. They're next door. It's like, what is wrong with you? And a big part of it is like, I can't tell if this is my autistic sense of justice or if this is just like the efficiency part of my brain. Like, how is this not efficient to put the trash in the empty dumpster? You know what I mean? It's like gay dumpster judging. I am gay judging your dumpster skills. And that's the thing with the shopping cart. It's like, I'm not trying to condemn you. I would actually argue from a philosophical point of view, like, we're all good, but we're all trying to be less bad every day. Like, we're all good. Our default is good, but we add or take away from that contribution. Like, we kind of are neutral, but I would even argue that we're good. Because again, I wouldn't judge a baby. Like, I don't think a baby is neutral. I think a baby is good. I don't think there's anything bad about a baby. Like, I think babies are good, you know? And I think babies start off good and they grow good. And then there's some deviation in bad and good that happens throughout their life, right?
Where someone could pull into a parking spot, not see it, damage their car. Now they have to deal with that. The way that people can't wrap their heads around how doing the simple things and doing the important things are all just as important, and not to them. And it's the same sort of like, if you expand this out to more serious things, the second that they have to do something that's inconvenient for them, I still don't shop at a BP gas station because of like the 2009 oil spills that they basically on purpose, because they wanted to save money, botched. I still go out of my way, if I can, if I'm aware, to not buy Nestle products, because the head of Nestle said that water isn't a human right, and they were funneling all the water out of Africa. They're trying to buy the rights to, water everywhere else, because ultimately it's a finite resource, and they want to have access to it to sell it back to us. Water is and you can tell people this, and they're like, but I still want to buy my, my Nestle little Crunch bars, and I still want to buy my cereal, and I still want to buy this, and like, you can't get people to do the most basic level of like moving through the world in a moral way if for most of them it even creates this much inconvenience. And I truly do believe that an autistic person that was raised with a reasonable set of altruistic morality is fundamentally 99 times out of 100 a better human being than neurotypicals, because neurotypicals cannot be trusted. The second that they are inconvenienced, they are doing the thing that promotes harm.
Okay, I don't know if I would go that far, but I do agree that if you were raised with even the tiniest bit of knowledge about values, this is very important. You know how I say I'm medium traumatized? It means that my parents attempted to do right by us. They really did attempt. They read books. They listened to radio shows. They tried to be good people. They went to philosophy classes. They tried to give us a religious perspective that was bigoted, yes, but they gave us a fundamental understanding of values. So it means that I do have trauma because of my upbringing, but I also have a foundation of right and wrong. Now, it was my job as I got older to deconstruct my parents' version of right and wrong and to upgrade it into my own version of right and wrong, right? And same, there are places I still don't shop or things I don't engage with, or, you know, picking and choosing our harm reduction. It's not about perfection, it's about harm reduction, right? And I think this plays into it, but I think first you have to have a set of values that are really encouraged in you, that are really like expected of you. And then there has to be a consistency. I don't think all autistic people or neurotypical people, I don't think it's that black and white, but I think there's something to be said about the way we have this conversation. And I think I think probably a lot of people in my audience probably fall into some sort of autistic sense of justice where like we're more than happy to follow the rules unless the rules don't make sense to us. But the question is, when do the rules make sense to us or not make sense to us, right? So somebody asked me in my chat, let me scroll up, girlies, hold on. What if people are led to believe that the rule is arbitrary? Some authorities, say the CDC or other public health authority, that values economic impacts over health impacts. So like right now we have RFK Jr., our health in the United States is under threat. We have all these anti-vaxxers. We have all these people that are fear mongering. We have all these people that are just like spreading so much misinformation. The responsibility of a grown-up adult is to understand that they don't know anything and then to do something about that. Right? I understand having a fear around medicine. I understand having a fear. I have an absolutely medicine anxiety problem. It is so real for me. I also understand why things can be hard for individuals, but I think what's important is that you don't take your individual fear and make it other people's problem. So what happens with the anti-vax fears is like you're taking a fear that is your own and giving it to everybody else. Because you know what's funny? My family, as an example, we were all vaccinated our whole life. COVID vaccine was the first time my parents questioned vaccinations. That's how strong the propaganda was for the conservative bubble. Never in my life had conservatives in my bubble ever not been vaccinated. And so I was so confused, and it felt like an extra step. And I understand the hesitation to get a new vaccination. I get it, especially from an administration you don't trust. I understand that. Human to human, I get it. But I think what I would have liked to have seen from people is sort of an interest in what it had meant to get vaccinated, or, you know, what it means to wear a mask, or what it means to exist in the world. And like I understand, right? There are still people today that feel like we should still be wearing masks, right? And like transparently, I'm not doing that right now. And I know that might upset some people. They definitely feel like we should be wearing masks, and maybe we should be wearing masks for the rest of our life. And look, if I'm in a certain place, I will wear a mask. It's just I don't wear a mask in my daily life because I don't interact with that many people. But if I was like in a very crowded place, maybe I'd make a decision to wear a mask, you know. But I think that that's the dilemma, is like we all have a line in the sand for when we are participating and how we are participating. And the question is like, where is your line? Right? Let's see. Chet says realizing that the shopping cart wasn't just a hypothetical was another way I learned I grew up better off than I thought I did. Y'all shop places where there are just carts in the lots. Yeah, like people put it in the grass. People put it in the thing. I've been to high-end neighborhoods where that happens. I don't think it's I've been every neighbor, because I worked in grocery stores. It didn't matter if there were literally $300,000 cars in the parking lot for this grocery store, which I did work at, very high-end grocery stores. People didn't put their carts back. It didn't matter like what the neighborhood was. It didn't matter how rich people were or poor people were. It just seems to be, in my lived experience, a universal. I don't think I've ever been to a grocery store that wasn't in Europe where there wasn't carts in the parking lot. I think Croatia is the first place I've been to where everyone put the cart back. Now, to be fair, in some places in Croatia, and I think in the US, they now have this thing where like you put a quarter in your cart and you get it back when you put it back, right? So there's something to be said about it. I also think there's something to be said about like maybe it's too hard for you to put the cart back because you're disabled. I would just ask somebody to come out with me and be like, can you come take my cart back? I can't do it. Like I'm too disabled to take my cart to my car and take it back, right? So I think there's a conversation where that can be talked about. Like, hey, can you help me, right? Let's see. Let me scroll up. Did I miss any other comments? Chad says, you mentioned the carts being heavy, but I don't think that was ever true where I grew up. Are your carts made out of plastic? Our carts are made out of metal. Like they're metal carts. They're like hundreds of dollars each carts. Each cart is like hundreds of dollars. But when I say heavy, I mean like if you have you have to be tall enough and strong enough to put them places. Oh, they were plastic. Yeah, I think Target has plastic shopping carts. But a lot of the places I've been to, Target is like the one of the few places that have plastic shopping carts. I think ultimately what's really difficult is thinking of an ideal society. And I was thinking about this earlier Oh, damn. I should have incorporated it into this discussion actually about like values and like what does it mean to have a good society. Oh, I don't think I could go through these TikToks and find them yet. But I do want to talk about that. I want to talk about like Brittany's ideal society and what that would look like. Like an example would be like putting the shopping carts back, or something that I think would be a great thing to normalize in culture, like an expectation of a social expectation. Like I'm trying to think of some other ones that I think would be better, but the shopping cart's like a really good one. Or like the lady on TikTok who was pissing everybody off by going to Barnes & Noble and being like, you can just go to Barnes & Noble and read the books. Girl, go to a library. A library is actually there to support people who can't afford the books. And if you go to Barnes & Noble and read their books, well, first of all, that's not allowed. But also you're taking away the opportunity to fund the library. It's like you're not thinking community-wise. You're not thinking community-brained. You're thinking I. And it would be really nice if we were like thinking about ways to benefit the community by engaging in different, but it's hard because you can't know it all. And so you think you're young and you discover something really deep. Like, oh my God, I can read books at Barnes & Noble. Girl, you think I didn't spend half the time of my day at the lesbian and gay section at Barnes & Noble growing up? But I also bought a book. My rule of thumb was like, if I'm going to be there, I'm going to buy a book. Because like, otherwise I'd go to a library where you can read books for free. You know what I mean? It's just like, people aren't thinking. Like they're not thinking about the fact that if you damage that book, right? Like what happens to the author, and like, are they going to get paid if you damage their book? Like who's going to buy a book that looks like you've already went through it and dog-eared everything and all that stuff? It's like, go to a library. So, you know, when I think of an ideal world, I do think of that stuff, like thinking about how this impacts more than just you. And still understanding that we can't be perfect. This is so important because I know people on the internet be like, well, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? Guys, this is so important. And I think this is what I really got from this TikTok is I need to stop, and we all need to stop letting people convince us we're as bad as them. No, ma'am. Listen, we've all done some shit, but not all of us have done the shit you have done. Okay? I will not be judged under the same scrutiny as a man, as any man on this internet who does as crazy as a thing these boys get away with. Okay, absolutely not. And like, that's the problem. Is like some of us are actually trying to make an effort, and yet we bully ourselves and beat ourselves up more than these boys would ever do that to themselves. And they have done far worse than we would ever do. And then yet they're out here convincing us like, just so you know, everyone's a piece of shit. No. Yes, but no. We are not all a piece of shit in the same way. We are not all a piece of shit in the same way. It's like that's why I think Trump got elected, because everyone wants to think, well, if you go for Trump, what about what I've done? Yeah, but like the level of shit that Trump has done, if you are even close to that, like, yeah, you are the same as him. But most people shouldn't even be slightly in the Trump sphere. He has done a lot of bad shit, bros. So the fact that people are identifying with these people and they're afraid, oh, well, if we go for them, what about us? Are you doing the same stuff these men are doing? Because I don't think we're doing that. Like, I don't think we're actually doing that. And yet I think we beat up ourselves as if we are. And that's like, I think, such an autistic experience, at least from my lived experience. Discourse said, I feel this way actually about people smoking too close to certain public areas. Can I tell you how many times I've needed to sit down at a bus stop as a disabled person, but someone is sitting there smoking and doesn't even need the damn bus? Yeah, that's difficult. Smoking in public, the vibe of it all. Here in Croatia, everybody smokes. But even then, people do try to be slightly courteous, at least, which is interesting. But it's not perfect. Like, you know, but, you know, you kind of get used to it in some certain ways. But in the United States, man, I remember watching it go from like smoking everywhere to non-smoking. What an experience. And then being back in Croatia, or here in Croatia where like everybody still smokes. It's such a different feel, you know? What a different world. But I think that's a good example of like, if there's kids around, pets around, if people ask you like, oh, if you're courteous, if you're smoking, like, hey, do you mind if I smoke, or do you want me to move over? Like, being courteous is it's a nice gesture, you know, of like, hey, I noticed you're now in my space. Do you mind if I smoke? Would you like me to move a little bit? I can put this out. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a nice gesture. It's not going to cost you too much. It's not going to be that big a deal if you walk away for a second. It's like the thoughtfulness would be nice to see. It would just be nice if people could check in with each other and be like, you good? It's like, okay, people who talk on speakerphone at the store, people who talk on speakerphone in public transit. I'm so sorry. You guys, are you fucking kidding me? I was at the doctor's office and this man was watching a TV show on speakerphone. And I was like, What are you doing? These parents were letting their kids play on speakerphone YouTube videos. Guys, with peace and love, you have got to be fucking kidding me. You have got to be fucking kidding me. No, ideal world, you are not on speakerphone, period. No speakerphone for music, no speakerphone for conversations, no speakerphone for your TV shows. I cannot believe you think that's okay. But like also, oh my God, I know you're not out here like killing people, but come on. That's crazy to me. Talking on speakerphone has got to be the craziest thing I've ever seen. I see it. This girl did it here in Croatia. We were on the bus and she got on speakerphone and this other boy was playing his video games out loud. And I was like, sir, we do not need to hear what's going on. We do not need to know. Okay? We do not need to have this thing. This does not need to be a group activity. Thank you. Turn it off. Turn it off. Use your phones. Take a second. No, like do something else. Crazy. I don't know. I just feel like that's insane. I don't know. But then that's my ideal world. My ideal world would be like really considering. And at the same time, I think like having a radio at a park is like such a vibe sometimes. Having a radio at the beach is such a vibe. It's like some places it makes sense to have things on loudspeaker because it's like a community vibe. And then other places it's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we actually doing? Like, please make it make sense. Anyways, okay. I just thought we could have that little quick conversation here about ethics, autism, making the world a better place, but also just make sure, guys, that you're not comparing yourself to like the worst people on the planet and make sure you're comparing yourself to your values. Your values. What do I want for the world? How do I show up the best I can be? And am I actually doing what I say I'm doing? Am I secretly doing something behind closed doors? Or am I actually showing up? Are my words matching my actions? Are my words matching my actions? This is the key point here. Because for a lot of people, it absolutely is not. Okay? All right.